Okay, let's start. Could you say your name and your preferred pronouns?
I'm Neosha, and I use she, her pronouns. So I grew up in Amherst, Massachusetts, which is in western Massachusetts. It's fairly rural. It's a college town, but there's a lot of agriculture. I feel like I grew up kind of like racially isolated because I was the only Indian kid in my grade until I think junior or senior year of high school. My freshman year, because I was coming out of an environment that I was growing up in that was like really white, I had a lot of white friends freshman year. I didn't really realize that it should have been a priority of mine to make friends of color. I think having like friends of color is, I've been able to grow and have like much more deeper friendships with them, and I think because of that I've just become a lot more aware of race in dating. Yeah, so I identify as Indian or South Asian. The reason why I wouldn't only say Indian is because my dad's from South India, he's Tamil, and my mom is Bengali, which is in the north, and my mom's family is originally from Bangladesh. I think my parents are unusually accepting for brown people. I dated a white person at one point, and my parents like met him. So I feel like my parents don't have as many like outward expectations. My sister's gay, and I think it was very difficult for them to accept that because they had such an idea of what their lives would be like once they retired and they had grandchildren. They do technically know that I'm bisexual, but they always tell me like I need to have kids and stuff like that, which I would like to have kids. But in that sense, I feel like there's a lot of pressure because I know that my sister isn't going to give them what they want.
Has your cultural background affected kind of the expectations that you face in a romantic sense?
Okay, so I was in a relationship starting my freshman year. Like freshman spring, I got into a relationship with someone that was a junior at the time, so 2 years older than me, and he was white. I think at that time I was also just very like unaware of like racial politics and dating in general, and I didn't see race as a big factor in dating. One experience that I did have was that I felt like he thought that I was really like mysterious in the beginning, partially because I was Indian, and then we were talking about our upbringings, our childhoods, like as one does in a relationship, and then after he realized that I was like a normal person, I feel like he thought I was a lot less interesting or mysterious. He invited me on a vacation with his parents for a weekend, and I met his parents. He said that his dad voted for Trump in the past election, and I was like, I don't know about this. But I was like, okay, I'll just enjoy this like free vacation with my boyfriend and I guess his parents also. And it was like a fun weekend, I think. And then that was the first time that I had met his parents. And then I thought we were doing really well. Like, I thought it was going well as a relationship. And a week later, he said that he wasn't in love with me anymore. And that hurt a lot, as one can imagine, because we had been together for like several months. And so I think that kind of taught me a lot. I don't know, like, if anything happened with that weekend with his parents, but I have heard that has happened to other brown people where they were dating a white person, they met his parents, and then the next week the guy, like, broke up with them. Yeah, I took a long time of being single and I didn't want to, like, date anyone. And I was, like, I saw a few other people, like, throughout last year casually, and it just took a lot out of me because casual dating sucks because you have feelings for people and then you aren't committed to them. You don't know whether it's going to work out.
Also, you don't need to share anything that's uncomfortable, but we want to hear about like the ups and downs or lessons learned through these experiences, and it can touch on race and ethnicity if you want or not.
I think in college I've received a lot of judgment on who I date, especially when I was dating a white person publicly. when I was dating the person that was white, I know a lot of Indian people refer to me as the girl with the white boyfriend. And that's kind of like a sucky way to be referred to. I feel like now I would have judged myself, which is really bad. So I'm trying not to. I probably should be less judgmental because I know how hurtful it is to like receive that kind of judgment. And I just feel like Indian women have so much misogynistic comments about who they're dating. Like, a lot of the times I feel like I can't get anything right. And it's like, okay, you have to date a brown person. But then brown men, they're like, oh, we only want blondes. Like, we only want white people. And so many brown men, I could talk about this forever. So many brown men have this attitude that they don't like brown women. When I see a brown guy dating a white woman, I feel like my immediate first thought sometimes can be like, does he not like Indian women? So that's my first thought. I'm like, he doesn't like us. And so I think I get defensive because it feels personal, even though it may not necessarily be. And like on TikTok, I see a lot of people that I follow of South Asian descent receive a lot of comments like, you look like a man, or like, shave your mustache. For sure, South Asian women tend to be portrayed as like not desirable, dirty, smelly, things like that. So for me, I'm like, I would prefer to date a brown person just because our cultural values are similar and it's something that would be comfortable for me, and it feels right to be with someone who's also brown. But like no brown men like wants to date us, so like of course we're gonna be with people who want to be with us and who are gonna appreciate us, and then we get judged for that. And so that's frustrating to me. So I decided that I don't want to date white people like a year and a half ago or something, just because I just don't want to. Like, I don't want the judgment, and I mean, if someone comes along that's like great, like I would do it, I would consider it, but I just don't want. I filter out white people on my dating apps. And I feel like I'm justified in saying that because I have dated white people before, or a white person before. Yeah, I think as judgment is like a very big theme in this, which it shouldn't be, because it should be about like the connection that you have with the other person. I used to look for mutual interests and like whether they like doing the same things as I do. And I've realized that that's not really that important. That's like very peripheral, and what is important is how they treat you, how they make you feel, and whether you're like emotionally compatible, whether you are like able to make the other person feel loved. And honestly, I feel like I've learned that through like trial and error.
Yeah.